Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and today we're reviewing for you Sektori on the Nintendo Switch 2. This review was originally written by the wonderful Ollie Reynolds and has been adapted for video by me. And that means all the footage you're going to see is my gameplay, for which I apologise in advance. But anyway, that's more than enough waffling. Let's dive right into things. For the longest time, we were convinced that Geometry Wars Retro Evolved 2 was the absolute peak of the twin-stick arcade genre. It took what the original Xbox Live Arcade game did so well and perfected the formula, delivering an experience that was easy to grasp yet difficult to master. Imagine to our surprise then to discover that not only does Sektori effortlessly emulate the feel of Geometry Wars 2, but it also manages to surpass it in pretty much every way. Having launched on other platforms at the tail end of 2025, this, my friend, is the new benchmark for twin-stick arcade games, and Ollie's favourite Switch 2 release of 2026 so far. Developed by Kimmo Lathinen, who previously spent 13 years at the Sony-owned studio Housemarque, Sektori wears its inspiration on its sleeves. At its core, it's quite literally Geometry Wars. You navigate a top-down arena, shoot a bunch of coloured shapes, and try to stay live long enough to climb the online leaderboards. However, several unique mechanics help set it apart, making it one of the most relentlessly addictive games we've ever played. First up is the strike move. In addition to moving with the left stick and shooting with the right, tapping LB or indeed ZL dashes your ship forward, creating a large explosion that decimates nearby enemies. Normally, executing this will require a cooldown of about 10 seconds, which feels like an age when you're playing this game, but timing and accuracy can allow you to chain together multiple strikes in one go. The key is to aim at the upgrade pickups that appear periodically in the arena. Hit one of these with your strike and it will completely bypass the cooldown period, letting you use it again and again until you run out of pickups. Chaining your strikes together is a great way to boost your score, but the multiplier will quickly reset if you fail to never break the chain. Then of course we have the pickups themselves. You have a total of 6 attributes that you can improve during your runs: speed, score, strike, shield, missile, and blaster, specifically in that order. If you pick up one upgrade, you can immediately activate it and improve your speed. However, if you grab 2, then you can upgrade your score, and so on and so on. So essentially, if you want to improve your blaster, you're going to need to keep playing until you pick up 6 of the flipping upgrades before activating it. Each attribute can be improved multiple times, lending the game a huge element of strategy as you figure out which ones you want to focus on. Building up your shields is a great way to stay alive against boss encounters, but leaving your blaster at its lowest level can make later stages a lot more difficult. Another pickup you'll need to keep an eye on will cycle through letters to form specific words. Depending on the difficulty setting, these words are Mirage, Sektori, and Revolution. Pick up all the letters and you'll enter a temporary rainbow state, powering up your abilities to the max whilst boosting your score exponentially. It's well worth spending the time to complete each word, but you'll want to time your pickups well, as it's possible to snap up a letter that you've already collected. And finally, you have upgrade cards. Before each run, you'll need to choose a total of 8 decks from which to pull cards, and you can customize these as you gain more through unlocks. When you grab a rare yellow pickup during gameplay, you're presented with 3 randomized decks to open. Some cards do very little, but rare ones can grant you decent upgrades like defensive drones or the ability to shoot backwards. There's quite a lot to juggle then, but when you're in the heat of battle, it all comes together really well. All those extra little bits and bobs are vital to achieving high scores, but fundamentally they don't get in the way of the core gameplay, which is shooting enemies, surviving, and having a damn good time doing it. Oh, and did we mention that the arena actually changes and morphs as you play? You probably worked that out because this is the video version. Yes, in addition to the hordes of enemies, the stage will completely change shape every 15 seconds or so make sure you don't get caught up in the red areas as it's about to shift. If there's one drawback to all of this, however, it's that the game doesn't do the best job at explaining it all. There's a brief tutorial at the start and some instruction pages on the main menu, but it took us a little while to realize that grabbing multiple pickups would cycle through your upgrades. Similarly, when the first selection of cards popped up on the screen, we didn't have a clue what was going on. It doesn't take too long to figure it all out, but a bit more guidance from the game itself would have been nice. The main campaign mode has you work through individual stages, each of which ends with a big old boss encounter. When you first start, you're forced into experience difficulty mode until you beat the first level, but make no mistake, this is not exactly easy. The latter difficulty levels, Challenge and Revolution, increase the number of enemies on screen and the rate at which they appear. To balance things out, however, your own rate of fire is also increased. In another nod to Geometry Wars, there are 6 other modes to unlock as you play. These include Gates, which disables your weapons and has you fly through barriers to defeat enemies, and Crash, which only allows you to use the strike ability. Each mode has its own global leaderboard, so there's plenty to sink your teeth into here. And all of this is propped up by Sektori's stellar presentation. Visually, it's a little bit darker and edgier than what you might see in, Geometry Wars, but it's still a very trippy experience. Psychedelic patterns constantly swirl in the background, and the plethora of different colored enemies all floating around the screen is a delight to behold. It all runs at a rock-solid 60 frames per second with not a single noticeable drop frame in both docked and handheld modes, which frankly is a necessity in a game like this, but we're pleased to give it that badge of honor. Similarly, music plays a huge role, with Tommy Latinen's techno-based soundtrack bringing the action to life beautifully. In fact, the sound design as a whole is excellent, with punchy weapons sound effects, crunchy explosions when you execute a strike, and an anxiety-inducing alarm that blares whenever the stage changes shape. Sektori is a triumph. Blending the core gameplay of Geometry Wars with several engaging new mechanics makes this one of the most satisfying and addictive games we've ever played. It boasts immaculate presentation with gorgeous visuals, a thumping soundtrack, and a rock-solid 60 FPS gameplay. Some of the new mechanics may take some getting used to, and the game could do a better job at explaining them, but once you got your head around all of it, it's impossible to put down. As far as twin-stick shooters go, Geometry Wars has been dethroned. There's a new king in town. Sektori, you're getting a 9 out of 10 from us. Now that we've got the official stuff out the way, yes, it's time for Alex's personal thoughts, and if it wasn't immediately apparent from the gameplay, I absolutely suck at this game. There's just no other way to put it. I'm having an absolute blast every time I pick it up, and it is very, very difficult to put down, but my god, it took me like 3 hours to get through the first stage. I mean, this is famously a game that is not even remotely easy in any sense. So many people online on other platforms have been saying that this is just like proper crushingly difficult, and I was very pleased when I read that online, because for a while I just thought I was absolute rubbish at video games. I mean, don't get me wrong, I am still bad at this game, and I wasn't great at Geometry Wars either. But I don't know, maybe that goes to show that you don't need to be good at something in order to enjoy it, because I've been having an absolutely lovely time with this game. I do agree with Ollie that some of the mechanics they're just kind of not really explained. You can kind of feel your way through, but it took me a long time to work out what the Mirage or Sektori or Revolution letters were actually doing, because I couldn't for a long time get far enough to spell the word Mirage. Hooray! I genuinely don't think that there's a better game out there for you that's been released within the past couple of years. It is absolutely top tier. And frankly, I don't see enough people talking about it. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe the Switch 2 version will get people chatting about it in a way that it didn't on other platforms. Somehow, it absolutely deserves it. I love this game to death, even if I'm rubbish at it.